Got a little question that's going to be coming up that for everybody who has silver, gold, or wants to trade in their metals after the, say we have super high inflation or whatever happens. What currency would you go into next? Sounds like a simple question because everybody says, oh, the currency will just be reset. I don't think it's going to be that simple. I'm just saying this as a hypothetical. Well, it's a real question. And I know they've been talking about the end is coming, the end is coming. At the end, it was going to be in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Maybe it's going to be 2012. I don't know. But it looks like the warning signs are getting there more closer and closer. Israel has dumped 46% of its U.S. Treasury bills, Russia 95%. You got another story here, China to sell U.S. debt ASAP, and they've already gotten rid of a lot of their U.S. debt, and they're been reducing it. Japan is too. Another thing is agreements that are bypassing the world reserve currency, the U.S. dollar. Direct agreements between China and Russia. There was China and Brazil. That's been already well over a year ago. But it's a lot of different things. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think towards the end, it's going to go pretty fast. And it's interesting. These guys are all dumping U.S. debt, and everybody's running into U.S. dollars with the last euro crisis. I think a lot of investors are scared, but for the metals people, what's the next move? And here's something else. I knew about this from before, but this is China and Iran to plan barter oil. Iran, they set up an oil bourse. I think it was it was supposed to be in May 2007, and it wasn't ready till the end of 2007, I think. But no important nations took upon it, trading oil for any other currency except dollars. But now they got a major player, China. China buys a lot of oil from Iran anyway. I think they buy 30% of their oil or something like that. It's quite a bit. And they're not going to use the U.S. dollar. That upsets, us, right? Or the people that control us, or whatever you want to call it that. But anyway, it looks like the dollar is not going to have too much life left in it. So the next step is, where do you, what currency do you trade your metals into? I mean, they say the currency is going to be reset, but I don't think it's going to be reset. And you wouldn't want to trade it into the dollar no matter how high it goes, because say it's going into hyperinflation. Just assume it does. I would say, and I've always liked these two currencies, especially the Canadian dollar is number one, and number two is the Australian dollar. I never liked the Swiss franc in the one way is that I never thought it was attached to gold the way they say people believe it is. And just what happened recently, I kind of figured was going to happen. I figured the Devils would win, and that's exactly what happened. So Swiss franc is definitely something you don't want to go into. It could be the Singapore dollar too, but look, considering the United States, if you're going to go into a currency that people understand and feel comfortable with, I would go into the Canadian dollar. I don't think they're going to suffer from hyperinflation or as much inflation as the U.S. They haven't been recently, but when things really go down fast, I think the Canadian dollar might be the one to temporarily go into when they come out with something else. I think sticking, if you're going to sell your metals, they go up like three times, 4 times, or whatever the hell it is. To take U.S. dollars, I think would be a mistake. I was looking at this article from David Morgan's blog. I mean, he's all right, but I want to tell you right now, any of these people that primarily make their money from giving out advice, I don't trust their advice. It's usually people who run big hedge funds, or they're managing other people's money in the billions, and assuming they're giving you an honest opinion, like I think Jim Rogers does or Mark Faber. I trust their advice, but he talks about special drawing rights currencies or something coming up in the future. Thing is, that's not going to pop up overnight. In a longer term, I think the Chinese yuan might be a reserve currency, possible, but I think the Western interests aren't going to want that. And despite what people think about, there's a big global conspiracy. I want to tell you what I think goes on. I don't even want to call it a conspiracy. I think it's just the same old garbage that's been going on since day one. But there's very powerful people on the eastern parts of the nation that want global domination. There's Russians that want it. There's Americans that want it. There's Europeans that want it. And they're all fighting each other. Okay? That's really what goes on. But getting back to square one problem is when you got your metals and you want to turn them in for some kind of cash because you think the price is about near it's topping out, what cash are you going to take in? And I say it ain't going to be the U.S. dollar. And even if the Chinese yuan is nice and stable, I don't think a lot of Americans like accepting that money. So I'm going to say it's the Canadian dollar. That's just an interesting little problem. I've kind of figured nobody's really thinking about. They got this theorized that the currency will reset, you preserve your wealth, and you know what? You're not going to be walking around with bags of silver buying stuff unless you go back to you go back 200-300 years in time. There's still going to be electronic trade. That's just the way things are done, and it's going to continue to be that way forever. I mean, even if they knock something out with an EMP, they'll restore it and it'll be back online in a matter of no time. So, it's not. The world has already changed. It's not going back 200-300 years. You're not going to be walking around with bags of silver. So you're going to be using a currency. That's the way I look at it. So my thought is, what currency? What currency, when you think silver and gold hit the top, and I'm saying my best guess would be the Canadian dollar until they come out with something else. Anyway, that's something I think people should think about, because this next move, I think, is going to be coming by maybe next year, because I'm going a little bit by what Lindsey Williams said. He's a little bit flaky, but I'm going to tell you, I think he's fairly accurate. So it's about right now, I think with all these things that are happening here recently, maybe 2012 might be about correct for the dollar's demise.